Hi guys, Rick here from Calisthenics 101, and today I want to talk about resistance bands, which for me are one of the most useful pieces of equipment for those training calisthenics. So the reason that I think resistance bands are so useful is that when training calisthenics and performing different exercises, if there's anything that you can't quite do yet because you're unable to perhaps push or pull your body weight, then using a resistance band can take some of that weight off and help you achieve that exercise. So using pull-ups as an example, some people might be able to perform 10 reps of pull-ups without any help, whereas some people just starting calisthenics might not be able to perform a single pull-up yet. So the way to get around this is to simply loop a resistance band over the bar, and you can use that to support some of your weight, which will make pull-ups easier. And as you get better at pull-ups, you can simply change the resistance given to you by the band until you're able to perform pull-ups without using a band at all. Before I talk about which resistance band I recommend, I first want to talk about the different types available, because when it comes to training calisthenics, you're looking for a flat loop band. So let me talk you through those two bands quickly here. So these are what you call flat loop resistance bands. And you can see that based on the fact that they're just simply a loop and the band is flat. Now I'll come back to that in a second. The other band I've got here is what's called a tubular band. So you might see a few different resistances shown by the different colours, but the main giveaway for this one is it's more like a tube and it's got handles on each end. And this is used for resistance only. So what I mean by that is, if you think about using this band for exercises, you can use it similar to weights to get resistance. So here's doing bicep curls using the resistance band instead of weights. Now if you look at these flat loop bands, they can be used for both resistance and assistance, and that's the important part. So if you think about this, they still have some resistance to them, so I can still use them in a similar way to those tubular bands, but in terms of assistance, you can use them to help you with exercises. And that's what's really important for training calisthenics, because you want to use these bands to support some of your weight for these exercises that you can't do. So let me show you the different flat loop bands I've got here. Now each colour shows a different resistance. Now this isn't a different length, it is a different width of the band, and what that'll do is it'll give you different levels of resistance. A black band like this is often a kind of shorter width band, and that means that the resistance isn't as much. So to pull this is quite easy, it's not going to support a huge amount of weight. On the other hand, if I use this larger green band, this is much harder for me to pull, and that's going to support a lot of my weight. And in fact, this is almost better suited to using it as a resistance rather than assistance, because it's so unforgiving. But when we talk about assistance, the bands can work with me to support my weight. In this video, I've been talking about pull-up and dip bands and this rubber bandits band. So you might be wondering, which band should you purchase? When choosing which band to buy, I think the main thing is where you're based in the world. So Pull-up and Dip are a German company based in Europe. So if you're looking to buy, like myself, based in the UK, then you can get this for a similar price to the rubber bandits band, but you won't pay extra shipping charges. Whereas I think the rubber bandits bands are slightly better price for those based in America. But if you're not in America, you're going to pay $22 shipping charges to get any of their bands sent out to Europe or UK. I'll put a link to both bands in the description, and if you follow the link, you can actually get 10% off the pull-up and dip band. Now the last thing I'll say before you follow any links to buy a band is to make sure you buy a set of bands. And this is really important, because when we look at these pull-up and dip bands, I've got red, black and green, all showing different resistances. And depending on what kind of skill I'm working on means I might use the different bands. For example, I find dips really easy, so if I were ever to use a band to help with those, I might just use a simple red band. Whereas if I'm struggling with pull-ups, I'd want to use a thicker band, perhaps a black or even a blue band that might be able to take much more of my weight. And it's really hard to tell you based on how much you weigh, what kind of exercise you're looking to use the bands for. It's really hard to tell you exactly which band to buy, so the safest bet is to buy a set of bands, and that way you can use them for all kinds of exercises, and more importantly, as you improve in that exercise, you can look to change bands. Thanks for watching guys, I hope you liked the video. If you want to find out more about the bands I've talked about today, then I've put the links in the description below the video. And if you do like the video, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends.